Welcome to the 15th show and the third in our new season of Touring Texas Songwriters with our host, the Long Tall Texan, Mr. Bruno Michel. Today's show features the amazing talents of trout fishing in America and is brought to you by the Barrel Brewing Company and the citizens of historic Salado, Texas. Trout Fishing in America was recorded live in front of a studio audience for broadcast on Country Radio Switzerland. Sit back, relax, listen and laugh to the stories and songs of trout fishing in America.
All right, so those of you who haven't been here this year when we had the band Wheatfield, that's your bad. We got 50% here again, and these guys could have called themselves like, I don't know, David and Goliath, something.
Big and little.
Big and little.
I want to be big.
You want to be
big. He could be little.
Yeah, but no, they had to call themselves Trout Fishing in America. So I have no idea. Grab your fishing poles, get your bait, and listen to Trout Fishing in America. There we go.
If I see a full moon rising, watch a half moon set, reach into my pocket to get what I can't get. If it all stops making sense, I know I'll be just fine. Honey, you show up, you show up, you show up at the strangest times. When everything goes never green, fences fall apart, getting better makes it worse when I cannot start. When the coyotes howl and the wind stops on a dime. Honey, you show up, you show up, you show up at the strangest times. When the choirs fall silent and the bells won't ring, and all my days get lost and I can't find anything. It was raining in the morning, snowing hard by noon. 5 o'clock, the world was closed and it won't reopen soon. I was wishing I weren't lonely, feeling low and left behind. Honey, you show up, you show up, you show up at the strangest times. When the choirs fall silent and the bells won't ring, and all my days get lost and I can't find anything. That day I wrecked my car, that day I lost my job, that time I wasn't looking, that night when I got robbed. When it all starts to unravel and the clock starts to unwind, honey, you show up, you show up, you show up at the strangest times. You show up, you show up, you show up at the strangest times.
Thank you.
Now, who the hell gets to that name like Trout Fishing in America? I heard it comes from a novel on one side, and then also because Ezra is a fisherman. So.
That is exactly the truth. That is exactly the truth.
What novel was
the
that?
novel was by Richard Brodigan, and it really had very little to do with fishing either. But when I first met Ezra, we were with another band that you might be familiar with, and when that band was out on the road, Ezra and I would leave early. We would leave, and he would stop and fish every stream we passed. And on one of our trips out in California, I was reading a lot of Brodigan books, and we fished every stream to California practically, and not very successfully, I might add, but he got better eventually. But anyway, somebody asked us, what's the name of your band? And I just said, Trout Fishing in Americas, because that's what we were doing.
But you probably catched everything but trout.
No, exactly.
It took
right.
a long time to catch trout. I remember the first trout I ever caught was at 11 Mile Canyon in Colorado.
Oh, wow.
It was about a 12-inch trout. I caught it on a piece of corn with a bobber, and I was so proud.
Proud of the trout.
I was.
All right. Now, you played together for 43 years. Jesus Christ, we're getting old.
Yeah, tell me about it.
And what makes such a long friendship, and how do you kind of solve the differences between when it comes to recording stuff or putting stuff on a set for a show?
Well, I think one of the reasons is when we get along, because it's very hard to compete with each other. We have different strengths and different weaknesses. I know you were making reference to the big and little. Since we're sitting down, it's not quite as apparent. But Ezra is quite a bit. Let's just stand up. He's quite a bit taller than I am.
You might have to raise that camera.
Okay, now imagine us trying to compete. We're going to play basketball. Who's going to win? You know, we painted the walls, and I painted the baseboards, and he painted the ceilings up top. You find what you can do, and you bring that.
Right.
We
Okay.
never chased the same women.
Oh,
it was
we-
always different taste in women.
Oh, that always helps. That'll break up a band so
That'll be
fast.
We've lost drummers to that.
And you probably won the Easter egg hunt, you know.
Right, exactly.
because you're
They're
quicker
right,
down
Hey, they're
there.
right there.
Now, that's, by the way, something we come back to that later about the difference in your size and stuff.
It's
but
kind of hard to get away from, you know.
it's pretty hard. I think we play another one.
All right. Why don't you tell them about this one? You big boys?
Yes. This song was inspired. You get your inspiration from many places. I used to be a baseball fan up until just a few days ago, and with the last World Series. And I was a few years back. I was wandering through a baseball card shop. I have all my cards from when I was a kid. Some of those cards would be really worth a lot of money if we didn't play with them. Well, I went in a store and I saw some other cards in a box, and they had been played with severely. And they had mustaches drawn on them and glasses and stuff. But the box was marked "Big Boys in Bad Shape." And that's the title of the song. Has nothing to do with baseball. Big boys in bad shape, fast cars with bad brakes. Anybody's got what it takes anymore. Tough guys that are tight fit, loose lips sink ships. But nobody knows what to say anymore. You wake up in the morning, invent the wheel every day. Once you get it rolling, you just watch it roll away, you watch it roll. Roll, roll away, gonna watch it roll. Talk show with a top spin, hard sell for the big win. Make it all up as you're going along. Top dog in a tight jam, a good job for the ad man. A brand new version of the same old song. You You tell me it's important, then you tell me that it's not. Once the wheel gets rolling, you know it's hard to make it stop or watch it roll. Roll, roll, baby, gonna watch it roll. Watch it roll. Roll, roll, baby, watch it roll. Well, there's a world out here and no one's watching. It's a beautiful world spinning out of control. We put our faith in heroes. Where do they put theirs? Watch them stumble like children as they tumble down the stairs. Decoy on a duck pond, sit still, it won't be long. They'll come flocking round here any day. Fill your pockets with fool's gold, we got the mother lode. Can't take it with you, can't give it away. You wake up in the morning and invent the wheel every day. Once you get it rolling, you just watch it roll away, you watch it roll. Roll, roll, away, gonna watch it roll. Watch it roll. Roll, roll, away, gonna watch it roll.
You were talking about the World Series before that.
I'm not talking about it much anymore, I promise you
Troy
that.
actually had a question because he was asking why is it called World Series if there is no other teams from other countries. Do you know the answer?
I do not know the answer to that. I always thought that was a bit presumptuous, but no, I have no answer for that. And I've quit being interested.
They
in
like
that
to
too.
play big. The second part of the previous question, actually, you haven't answered yet. At least I didn't kind of hear it out. How do you solve the differences when you record songs or put them on the set list?
We work together. We just work together. When we record, Ezra is on the board. He's the tech guy.
Oh, okay.
I am not the tech guy. Like I say, we have different strengths. I'm more about writing the song, playing the song, thinking what works, doesn't work, editing. I constantly edit the songs when we write them. And I'm really into that. And I'm into performance. This guy, he's on the board. Yep. He gets over there and he knows what to do with it.
You got your own studio up there, so.
I do,
Yep.
and it's joyful. We've our former studio, which we've had also, and had success with, was smaller than this room that we're in right now.
Oh, yeah.
Much smaller. And the studio that we have right now is 3 rooms. It's got an isolation booth, a big room for band recording, and a great size control room for. It's great for acoustic guitars and basses and voices as well. So it's really sweet.
And it's on your own property, so you don't have to go far, right?
And as far as what to record and ideas like that, we write together. This is a songwriting team. I will bring something in lyrically. Ezra will modify it musically. I'll modify that and back and forth. And it's all about the song. It's not about yourselves. You have to get outside of yourself. It's not about me. It's not about him, who's right or wrong. It doesn't matter. It's just about what happens next. And we're pretty good about that. I mean,
You
They
drink a lot.
conflict, but we work it out. And
I
40
can imagine how that conflict works out. Ezra stands up and you go, okay.
Actually, the guy carries a switchblade. I'm telling you, you don't want to mess with him. He looks small and unassuming. We're really radically different characters, but we do solve problems fairly well.
That's pretty cool. Since '88 you play Kerrville, and what do you like better, like the intimate small audiences or the big festivals with tons of people? What do you prefer?
I like it all. I love what we're doing right now. This is a very intimate and small and comfortable audience to play for. I like playing for big audiences. I think the biggest one we ever played for was a major league baseball game in Philadelphia. How many people were there for that interleague
There
play?
were 44,000 people there watching us sing the national anthem.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, we got in free
Pretty
too.
cool.
And talk about performing anomalies. This is one that Keith pointed out. I'll let you point it out. You know what I'm talking about. You just go ahead and point it out.
Are you pointing out the fact that they didn't have boom stands there at the stadium?
Oh, by no means.
They had only a straight stand. Now, the straight stand will go up about here.
Mm-hmm.
So I can sing in it pretty well. He can't sing his harmony part down here. So they brought out a large beer tub bucket and turned it upside down and put the stand on the inverted beer bucket for him to be able to sing.
That worked. Now, I was going somewhere
where were you
completely-
going?
That we are probably the only band in the history of the world that has ever opened for Bob Dylan and Barney. That's a true story right there.
In case you're not familiar with Barney, Barney was a purple dinosaur, and he did nice little sweet songs for the kids.
And I bet you wrote the song about that.
Gosh.
Now, you also published a book called My Name is Chicken Joe, and that included a CD, was kind of for kids and stuff. Now, what got you to that idea? I mean,
The Chicken Joe idea or the book?
both.
Both. Well, Chicken Joe was not a chicken. Chicken Joe was my cat. And he got his name because we were looking for him. He's a little kitten, and he was just gone. Couldn't find him. And I opened up the hen house, and there he is, and they're sleeping with the hens. It is very warm. Chickens are very warm, and they kind of hang out together. Chicken Joe figured that out, and he wanted to be right in the middle of that, and they accepted him as one of them, and that's where Chicken Joe hung out. True story. I thought that was funny. Chicken Joe. Ezra had, his mother had a dog, and she named the dog Miss Kitty. So she wanted to be able to say, "Here, kitty, kitty," and a dog would come running up. So just playing on that idea, things are not exactly their names, they change. That was the basis for the book itself. We do shows for kids, and we do a lot of, for family audiences and stuff like that. The book idea was something we had thought about for a while, but we got with Canadian publisher, and they got on the idea of doing this book. And the second, we've actually done two. With the second book, we wrote the story, and we on the recording in the back, we narrate the story. And it was a lot of fun. I get to be the narrator in like one character, and he gets to be everybody else, and his voices are great. They're so funny.
Have you got a sample of that?
I don't, Miss
Kitty, come on.
Miss Kitty, God, what was she like? Miss Kitty. Miss Kitty had a soft voice. It was a southern voice. She had a slow cadence to her delivery. She just delivered. Her R's were soft. She reminded me a lot of a storyteller that we met in Carolina or Alabama. Actually, Alabama's where I met her. Anyway, so that's that.
That's where he got some of these characters. And also the opening of it, the words rock and roll. When we first moved to Arkansas, out of Texas, we moved there, and I moved out in the country. The people that left, not only did they leave their cats, they left two roosters. And the roosters would sit right outside the bedroom window. And I swear, I'd come off the road, I'd go to sleep, I'd try to be sleeping, and they'd be out there, rock and roll! Rock and roll! And that's all I could hear. And so that became part of the story, too.
Okay, I guess they didn't survive, right?
No. They were good, too.
Chicken salad.
All right. Ready for another one?
Sure, why not? This one kind of pretty much into it. I say we write songs for kids. When you write a song, you want to think about the audience that's listening. And I thought we were writing a kid's song here, and we played it a couple of times. It turns out it's not. People tell me it's more of a husband song. She's moving her lips. She's making sounds. She's pointing her finger and waving her arms around. She's getting louder and louder and louder. I do the very best that I can. I nod my head. I pretend to understand. She's getting calmer, taking deep breaths. She's starting to smile. I know it's a test. When she asks a question, I do the only thing that I can. I nod my head. I pretend to understand. Nodding your head can work miracles. Just nod your head, everyone else agrees with whatever they want to think or whatever they want to see. Pretending to understand saves time and energy. Do I look like Einstein? Do I look like I care? Would you stop talking if I wasn't here? It goes on and on and on. I do the very best that I can. I nod my head. I pretend to understand. Nod out, man. Did I just say yes? Or did I disagree? What have I done now? What does it mean? It goes on and on and on. I do the very best that I can. I nod my head. I pretend to understand. It goes on and on and on. I do the only thing that I can. I nod my head. I pretend to understand.
Subtitle: Save My Marriage Song. Now, you actually do look a little bit like Einstein without the curls.
Oh, thank
I
you.
have to
Yes,
say.
yes. And just as smart, too. Amazingly.
Did it help several
No,
times?
no.
Now, you guys joke around a lot, like when Keith said that he's 5'5" on a humid day and Ezra was 5'20". So, how do you build that humor into your shows? Kind of.
I can show you. It is a little known thing. I mean, really, this is amazing. Although I am much shorter than Ezra, my arms are actually longer than his. Did you know that?
This is so stupid.
Does
And this is
anybody
on
believe
radio,
me? Okay, come here, man. Let's measure. We're gonna measure this. Okay, here we go. I win hands down. So, Does that answer your question?
Pretty much, I guess.
But as to
use
your
it.
point about humor, how do you work that in? I think it is crucial to work in humor. I think that the serious stuff is deeper and stronger when you balance it with humorous stuff. And the same thing with humorous stuff. If it comes off as something really serious, it's just such a relief. I mean, I watch films, and if it's all dark and bleak and scary, I just get tired. But if it's dark and bleak and scary, but there's the here kitty kitty moment, I'm hooked. I can watch a movie like that.
Yeah. But I don't think you kind of plan or work it in. I think it's just comes spontaneous with you guys.
We walk in a room and people start laughing. So, it happens. So might as well use it, make it part of the show.
Absolutely.
And it works.
Now, a song you have is called Alien in My Nose. I mean, imagine that, And
I can explain.
Two titles like that come to you before or after you wrote the tune?
Wow, this title came from a songwriting workshop. We go into classrooms and we talk with kids about the creative process. We try to demystify that. We say that you start with an idea, then you build on that idea. And we take them into a songwriting collaboration that we do. For example, I work with the kids. Well, first we play them a couple of songs of ours, and we analyze the songs just a little bit to let them know. And I suggest that instead of saying something, say something that everybody can understand, but say it in a different way than it's ever been said before. One's reporting, one is poetry. So we ask them for ideas, what they think would be a good idea. And, of course, some wise kid in the back, hey, how about a song about a booger in my nose? And I said, boogers, that's been covered. What else could be in your nose? And some other kid says, how about an alien? And I went, now, see, there's a story right there. So although the song, yes, is about a booger, we just developed it in the classroom with these kids. And I said, okay, where was the kid? He says, at school. Where? In the library. And he has to be quiet. What color was the alien? And it just goes on, and they came up with all these ideas. But it's their ideas with our coaxing. I mean, I didn't say, how about an alien? I just said, well, boogers have been overdone. Let's think of some different way to say that. And the kid says, how about an alien in your
Kind of
nose?
get creative, yeah.
It is.
Absolutely.
It's very, you want to hear it?
Yeah, almost the result. Yeah, just
You want to hear
wanted
the whole
ask-
song?
Just wanted to ask, what
No,
was the result?
we hadn't really planned this, but just a little bit of.
We know that it's a good song because it was both of our moms' least favorite song.
Least favorite song.
That's about the right time. That sound right? That sound right?
Perfect.
1, 2, 3, 4.
A quiet day at school, a little after lunch, I was sitting in the library reading adventure books. I felt something in my nose, so I discreetly pulled it out. And when I saw it on my finger, I wanted to scream and shout. It was wiggling and jiggling and jumping up and down. I was in the library and couldn't make a sound. There was an alien in my nose, an alien in my nose, and it was gross, 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 gross. There was an alien in my nose. Purple, green, and slimy, with pointy teeth and bloodshot eyes. I tried to shut it in a book, but it survived. So I stabbed it with my pencil, tried to wipe it on a friend. It took my lunch, said take me to your leader, and jumped back up my nose again. There was an alien in my nose, an alien in my nose. It was gross, 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 gross. There was an alien in my nose. closer to my brain. It was trying to suck the smart out to make me crazy and insane. So I threw it on the floor, tried to squish it with my shoe. When this didn't work, I knew what I would have to do. I had to be brave and save the world. I knew I had to defeat it. There was only one way to stop this thing. I knew I was gonna have to eat it. There was an alien in my nose, an alien in my nose. It was gross, 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 gross. There was an alien. Everybody sing now. An alien in my nose, an alien in my nose. It was gross, 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 gross. There was an alien in my nose.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's how it's done.
Yeah.
Well,
So the kids basically inspire you to the idea and kind of the creativity,
we
but
work-
then you got to write the melody to it, and you could either come up with something like slow or something more rock style, like this
well,
one.
when,
So-
when we're talking about Alien in My Nose, rock and roll works. I mean, there's all kinds of musical styles to choose from. And when that came up, rock and roll was definitely on my mind. We did a song, and we're not going to do that today, but called Baby's Got the Car Keys. And Keith had written music and words for Baby's Got the Car Keys, which was also another kid's song. And he brought it over, and the music was just kind of major seventh jazzy kind of feel. And I said, no, I ain't saying it gonna work, man. If you lose the car keys, you're not feeling major seventh jazzy. You feel rock and roll. It is time to go. So that song had also a rock feel. I mean, different songs just have different feels for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
When we're working with the kids, we write this song like within an hour. You know, the first 15 minutes is presentation. The next 15, in my mind, is trying to get an idea, and then we start working on it. And by the end of that session, see, he's working on the chords. He's working on the feel and stuff like that. I'm working with the kids on the lyrics and things like that, and he's helping out, way helping out. The deal with me, I slop things down on a page and edit later. And Ezra, when he goes to write lyrics, he wants it to come out perfectly, and he's very much a perfectionist. But if I take my lyrics to him, they always get better. Always, always, always.
It's that thing, the editing thing. I'm the same way musically. I will throw down really simplistic or just whatever comes to mind. It works. But he edits my music really well. I think we tend to be less judgmental about our starts, me for music, him for lyrics. And I think that's important as a writer. If you start judging your stuff before you let it come out, then you often stand in your own way and you don't get anything out. I think it's really important to let it all come out. Once it's out, then look back at it, then judge it.
kind of let the song lead where it goes, right?
Yes.
Man, we say that all the time. Let the song write itself. And it will.
That points to the fact that you guys basically have some topic in your mind, and then after that, snap on the melody on it.
Well, we ask them
Or
for
is it
the
kind
ideas.
of vice versa
Well,
sometimes?
so often Keith will come over with a lyrical idea, and his lyrical ideas are very rhythmic. We're going to try a song. There's no guarantee that we're going to play it perfectly because it's brand new. But Keith had come over. He'd been working on some Mozart or something with the. Was it Mozart?
It was Mozart,
With
as a
on
matter
the
of
piano?
fact. This doesn't sound anything like Mozart, but Mozart can inspire you for certain inversions of chords and things. And I was working, with this piece of piano music, and I had these chords and this idea. And I brought it over to Ezra, and actually we wrote this with Connie and Craig from Wheatfield. We were together at one of our band camp things, and we started working on this song, and they are co-writers on this song with us. And
No, let's hear it.
as Ezra says, it's a song about downsizing.
It is. Okay, I think it's right. All right. And I will not trade it for silver. And I would not trade for more time. And I don't know how to arrange them. But all of these boxes are mine.
It's here in a box, everything that I want to remember. Just because I can't find it, that doesn't mean that it's lost. Here in a box, broken pieces that must belong somewhere. Probably worthless and anyone else would have tossed. And I will not trade it for silver, and I would not trade for more time. And I don't know how to arrange them, but all of these boxes are mine. Here in a box are the pictures of people I've carried. Through my ups and my downs, they were always a part of my life. I have boxes of books and real-life handwritten letters. So good to remember old friends' forgotten advice. And I will not trade it for silver, and I would not trade for more time. And I don't know how to arrange them, but all of these boxes are mine. Boxes I will not surrender. So hard to let go for reasons I cannot explain. Here in a box are the stories that help me remember. When I find myself lost and I feel myself slipping away. And I will not trade it for silver, and I would not trade for more time. And I don't know how to arrange them, but all of these boxes are mine. And I will not trade it for silver, and I would not trade for more time. And I don't know how to arrange them, but all of these boxes are mine. Kind of close.
No, also called Find Your Old Stuff. Right?
All right.
Now, you lost me a little bit here. What's that got to do with Mozart? Was a record in a box or Mozart record?
What it has to do with Mozart is this. Keith was playing piano, and he thought, well, he heard chords, and he started playing these chords, and they were played very badly. And then
By me. Mozart played them very well.
And he had these words started. And he was so excited about this. We have these iPhones, and they have the memos, the voice memos. Well, he had it on that, and he brought it over. He played it, and it sounded great. Really, you could kind of hear it. It was a skeleton. And then when we brought it to Wheatfield, what happened was we learned the chords to the song, and we started singing it and writing it. And everybody was throwing in verses. Everybody was coming up with lines and lyrics.
Okay, but what does it have to do with Mozart? Okay, Mozart, in this one piece that I was looking at, I cannot remember what it was, but he has this A chord, and then the bass drops down to a G, and it's a little ambiguous because you think he's gone to a flat 7, but it doesn't. It evolves, and you realize he's just got a another chord, and that's the seventh of the chord. And then I go, wow, you could do that or you could do that. And that's when I take off from Mozart. Okay. So I look at how he did it, and then I do it differently a little bit.
It's a good thing you don't have to pay him royalty anymore, right?
I know, man. This guy, I'm ripping him off. But the chords are totally different than what he got, but just the way he moved to those chords just suggested things to me.
Cool. Great. Now, another one you have, we all get older, and you covered that topic in another song, which is called, I think, The Car's Running.
Yes, the truth.
And when you look back at your younger days, is there anything you will kind of do different these days if you go out as trout fishing in America? Or
We stay in nicer hotels. We have stayed in some of the most gnarly dumps you have ever imagined. I mean, crime scenes. It feels like crime scenes when we were younger.
We have to go through the yellow tape to get in the lobby, you know. It's really.
We did a trio for a while, and when we did actually a quartet for a while. When we did the quartet, Keith would stay in the closet. That was his room. He would shut the door, and that was his room. Then the piano player and I would split a bed in that I would take the mattress off the top and put that on the floor, and he'd sleep on the box springs, and our drummer had a bed to himself. And that's how four of us fit in a hotel room.
And one day, someone broke in the cardboard window of our hotel room while we were at the gig, and they stole our receipt bag. We didn't have any money, but they stole the receipt bag, and it was really terrible.
Crazy stuff. So these days, better hotels.
These days, better hotels
would be the choice.
Having done this career as long as we have, the audience shifts and yet stays the same. The audience, we played for people at a certain age. We continue to play. Those people have babies, and they get married and they have babies. They have lives. They go on. Then those babies grow up too. We're watching that happen,
again,
and then they have babies, and it is amazing to look out and see 3-4 generations. Our record is 5 generations of the same family at the same show, all appreciating something. I don't know what, but everybody gets something a little different. Like a kid might just like the beat. An older person might just like the beat. I don't know.
Well, it could be the idea of another song, 5 generations in, I don't know what.
It's amazing. A lot of times with opening acts, they get up in front of and to play before us, and they look at our audience and go, I don't know what to play. I don't know what to play at all, because the audience is so diverse.
Yeah.
I love that.
Small, tall. Okay. You want to play that thing?
Sure, we can play it. Car's running?
Yeah.
If we can remember it.
This is really sad.
But then we all know we get older, so don't worry about it.
This is a sad song, but it's
just
true.
Improvise.
It's very, very true. Ready?
1, 2, 3, and...
I drove back to the house to get what I forgot. These days I get distracted and confused quite a lot. I looked in the closet, I looked behind the door, just can't remember what I'm looking for. The car's running and I can't find the keys. Found my wallet, it's been missing for days. Glasses, yeah, they were right here on my face. I used to be sharp, but not anymore. Should've left already, but I can't lock the door. The car's running, and I can't find the keys. The car's running, and I can't find the keys. Why does this always happen to me? I'm under the table, I'm down on my knees. Well, where can they be? I should've left already, but I can't lock the door. And I still can't remember what I'm looking for. The car's running, and I can't find the keys. coffee, and it was right here in my hand. Now my hand is empty, and I don't understand. I'm wearing white tube socks, and they still don't match. I don't know where I'm going, but my bags are packed. The car's running, and I can't find the keys. The car's running, and I can't find the keys. Why does this always happen to me? I'm under the table, I'm down on my knees. Well, where can they be? Would you call my cell phone so I can listen for a ring? It's the only way I'm ever gonna find that thing. The car's running, and I can't find. The car's running, and I can't find. The car's running, and I can't find the keys.
We can totally relate to that. Absolutely.
You ever call someone and get confused and say, "Wait a minute, I can't find my phone."
Yeah, no. No, but I'm getting to the point, if I would do laundry and iron things, then I would probably, hear the phone ring, grab the iron, put it on my ear.
Oh, don't do that.
And then the doctor's asking, why do you got both ears burned? I said, I got cold 911, So, that's when you get older. It's a real problem.
Oh, I like
It's a real problem. Now, watching you guys on stage makes it clear that you get a lot of fun. And what else, except your songs and your humor, do you want to bring across to the audience? If anything.
If there was anything, it's just about being human. It is about being imperfect. It is about being perfect, those crystal moments that happen that are perfect. And I think that's all of that is exactly who we are. Sometimes we will just light it up and there's not drop one note and be 100% on. Sometimes we miss a note. And some of our songs are about those moments that you stumble and you fall. And some of those songs are about moments when you just absolutely soar. And there's humor in that. You laugh at yourself. You laugh at the world. You take it seriously when it's important. I think it's all in there. And it is exactly who we are on stage.
And you live a lot better if you don't take yourself too serious, too.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely. Especially these days. Helps a lot. Yeah. Ready for, what's the next one there?
What do you want to do? You want to Pico, Keith?
Well, we just did Cars Running.
Okay.
Let's try.
Try Barbed Wire?
Let's do it. I'd like to do a song that was written by someone else. The song was written by Susan Werner. Don't know if she plays much down here in Texas, but she has been a few times at the Kerrville Folk Festival, I know. But Susan is, she is a talent. She is so smart, such a talent, and great player and great writer. And she wrote this song that Ezra's just had to learn. Just had to learn.
It's one of those songs that when you're listening to it in the car, you can't turn it off. You can't turn the car off until the song's done. And this is a song about rural America. And my neighbor for the longest time was definitely one of these guys, a barbed wire boy. He's from rural America. He passed this year, and this song just makes me feel him very deeply. Well, I come from the rural Midwest. It's the land I love more than all the rest. It's the place I know and understand, like a false front building, like the back of my hand. And the men I knew when I was coming up were sober as coffee in a styrofoam cup. There were Earls and Rays, Harlans and Roys. They were full-grown men
They were barbed wire boys. They raised grain and cattle on the treeless fields, sat at the head of the table and prayed before meals. Prayed an Our Father, and that was enough. Pray more than that, and you couldn't stay tough. Tough as the busted thumbnails on their weathered hands. They worked the gold plate off their wedding bands, and they never complained. No, they never made noise, and they never left home. These barbed wire boys, 'cause their wildest dreams were all fenced in by the weight of family, by the feeling of sin that'll prick your skin at the slightest touch. If you reach too far, if you feel too much. So their deepest hopes never were expressed, just beating like birds' wings in the cage of their chest. All the restless longing, all the secret joys that never were set free in these barbed wire boys. And now one by one they're departing this earth, and it's clear to me now exactly what they're worth. They were just like Atlas, holding up the sky. You never heard them talk, you never saw them cry. But where do the tears go that you never shed? Or where do the words go that you never said? There's a blink of an eye and a catch in the voice. That is the unsung song of the barbed wire boys. Pretty serious.
You never know how that's going to go. You know, that song means an awful lot, and it is definitely part of our heritage growing up here in the States. Mm-hmm. Barbed wire. Farmers and that real hard rural man, that culture is a real part. And I don't know if that makes it over to Switzerland, but if it does, I'm sure. Is there an analog to that? Do you have a kind of guy like that in Switzerland?
Probably not, I would think. Like close to it, I would have to think about it, but not really. But that song definitely makes it over there because, you know, you kind of pack all the emotions into it, and if you look back when they started off with barbed wiring, which only happened 150 years ago,
not that long.
Every ranch basically had their own barbed wire, and especially down here, not only here but everywhere, you could actually tell from the barbed wire what ranch it was. Yes. And then combine this with what you just talked about your neighbor. I mean, that's just emotion pure, and it's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Pretty good. Now, back from the serious stuff to... Otherwise, people start crying in here. We got to get the Kleenex and stuff.
We can cheer them up. We know just the song.
Yeah.
You got a question first?
Yeah, the question probably fits your song because I know you play a lot of silly stuff, and you said so that, you know, when you were out on your two-person gigs, you played one place, one venue quite often, which made you kind of steady money, but it was like more humorous songs. And the question was basically, what was the, not most stupid, but most funny song you probably written? Or maybe it was the one you just want to play, I don't know.
You know, I think it would be hard to categorize the most stupid song we've ever written. Some people have said "Alien in My Nose" is pretty close, to it,
yeah.
you know. But we'd like to do another song. I mean, we are in Texas, and you know what Texas is famous for. And if Texas is famous for the invention of Mexican food.
Right.
That's as I understand it anyway. Any Texan will tell you. Anyway, we're going to do a song expressing our joy for Mexican food. It's a song called Pico de Gallo.
The Pico de Gallo, you ought to give it a try, yo. Even if you're from Ohio, it'll get you by, yo. Don't get it in your eye, yo, unless you want to cry, yo. So come on, don't be shy, yo. Eat some pico de gallo. It's got jalapenos. I reckon y'all have seen those. They're kinda hot for gringos and probably flamingos. Just add some tomatillos, onions and cilantro, lime juice and tomato. You got pico de gallo, pico de gallo. You ought to give it a try, yo. Even if you're from Ohio, it'll get you by, yo. Don't get it in your eye, yo, unless you want to cry, yo. So come on, don't be shy, yo. It's a pico de gallo. Oh, yeah. La, 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 la. Woo. It was Cinco de Mayo. I was down on the bayou with my good friend Venus. We were watching Hawaii 5-0. She wanted some French. Come on. Or maybe apple. That's right. And I said, why, oh, why, yo? We got, that's right. Yellow stars, the Pico de Gallo. You ought to give it a try, yo. Even if you're from Ontario, it'll get you by, yo. Don't get it in your eye, yo, unless you want to cry, yo. So come on, don't be shy, yo. It's a Pico de Gallo. So come on, don't be shy, yo. It's a Pico de Gallo.
Ah, hooah, as Freddie Fender would say. Oh, boy. What would have been like alternative jobs if you wouldn't have turned into full-time musicians? I mean, you probably were professional fisherman, I guess, somewhere on the river.
I could have been a basketball player, perhaps.
Maybe.
If I'd had enjoyed that culture, I might have been.
Right.
Yeah. He's got the best one, though.
I have thought this question over many times, and I've thought about it. What would I do if I couldn't play the bass? And I've decided I would like to be a potato chip truck driver because I love to drive, and how heavy could those things be?
And it's probably a good idea. In the middle of the breaks, you can always have some snacks.
Have
you know?
some snacks. Yeah.
Then come back with half the load, and you only get half the money. Then that's bad news.
The perks.
All right. Before we get to the next song, and my last question, any questions from you guys? To these two oldies experts.
Come on, sir. You want to know something?
Who are you going for in the World Series? Is that why you're not interested?
Yes. Let's just say I lived a long time in Houston, you know. And we moved there in '62, and I watched them when they were called the Colt 45s, and you know, and I used to really love baseball, but you know,
This guy has.
I say this pretty much every year. Now I'm saying it in October. I used to say it in April or May, you know, back in the bad years. But
Hey, did you go to that game when they played the Mets?
oh, don't even talk about it. Don't. Oh my gosh.
They wrote a book about it. It's called "The Greatest
Don't-
Game in History." Is
Not
that what
even.
it's called?
Oh no. I hate You were there. We were driving from Houston to Fort Worth to do a show, and I'm listening to the game. Oh yeah. I'm listening the whole way. Oh, it's over. God, no, it's not over. Oh, it was great. I loved that game up until the ending, and I didn't like that. It was.
Astros won 1-0.
No, I'm not. We're talking about a different game.
I'm talking about Rusty Staub drove the winning run.
Oh man, you're talking.
It was 60s.
You're talking 60s. Okay, great. I was talking 86, which I never mentioned.
Yeah, not that far
I
apart.
never mentioned.
Out of the game for a while.
Oh, that was
That's kind of interesting. Usually you should
21 inning ball game.
usually you should actually answer those questions yourself. You know, when people ask, you can also say it's a question nobody asked, but I want to answer it. So what would that be? Question nobody asked you, but you want to answer it.
What do you want to
A
question?
question that nobody asked that I would like to answer.
Yeah, that was on your mind forever.
Sorry. I liked your question about what would I do if I couldn't play the bass.
Yeah.
That's the one I lay in wait
Potato
for.
chips. Now we got that.
I mean that's real. I mean I love to drive, and we drive everywhere. Oh, I got. Well, no, that's advice. That's not a question.
Your advice
My
is good.
advice is travel. I
Much
like
as you can.
travel. Travel will change you. You never come back the same person
Absolutely.
as you left. And we spent a lot of time on the road. Well, our first truck, we retired with 540,000 miles. Our second vehicle was through 470,000. And the new vehicle, Whitey Ford out front, he now has 330,000 or something like that. So travel, and you know, planes work too.
Talk about these 1.5 million miles you were on the road. What was the weirdest thing that happened to you?
He's better with
If you
these.
can recall that.
I don't know if it's weird, and there's a lot of weird stuff has happened, but Keith and I had an arrangement early on that if the truck ever ran out of gas, we would take turns walking to the gas station. Didn't matter who was driving or who was responsible for putting gas in the truck. If it ran out of gas, we took turns walking to the gas station or hitchhiking or whatever. And one night we were on our way back from College Station, I think, to Houston, and we ran out of gas right outside of Hempstead. And it was a good ways outside of Hempstead, and there was not a gas station between us and Hempstead. And Keith, it was Keith's turn, and he started walking. And I'm in the truck, I'm reading, I'm relaxing, I'm listening to music, and it's getting longer and longer. And it starts raining. And it's not just a regular rain, it's just the kind of rain that a frog strangler. It is the kind of rain that will fill up the ditches, and it kept getting later and later.
It got very late because I finally took shelter in one of those produce stands where it wasn't open yet or anything, and I just huddled inside this produce stand. That was a weird one. That was a tough one. But
All right, let's play another one before we get to the last question then. Or
So let's do that.
Yeah.
We do a song by a Texas songwriter. You know, we take our influences from so many places. AM radio being one of the big places we took it from. This is a song by a man from Lubbock, Texas. Buddy Holly wrote this song.
love to me. Love that lasts more than one day. Ooh, I love and not fade away. Ooh, I love and not fade away. Said I love and not fade away. But my love is bigger than your Cadillac. Ooh, I try to love you, but you drive me back. But your love for me has got to be real before you know just how I feel. Well, love is real and not fade away. Well, love is real and not fade away. Love is real and not fade away. But love is real and not fade away. Said you're gonna give your love to me. love and not fade away. Said I love and not fade away. Ooh, I love and not fade away. But my love is bigger than your Cadillac. Ooh, I try to love you, but you drive me mad. Your love for me has got to be real before you know just how I feel. Said love is real and not fade away. Well, love is real and not fade away. Well, love is real and not fade away. Well, love is real and not fade away.
That was pretty cool. Now, the good thing is we get to the last question so we can relax after that. The bad news is you probably know already the question and have the answer to it because it's the last question that I always ask, which is if you were to interview yourself as a group, what question would you ask that I did not?
What were your influences? What were your musical influences? And how do they relate to what you do now?
We would answer that question very differently. I am classically trained. I played 2 years in the Houston Symphony. I played rock and roll bands. I do not have a great folk heritage, but I've gone back and looked at it, and I'm really enjoying it. But I can read music, and I left the orchestra. They had a union lockout, and I joined the circus and ran off with this guy, and just never quite went back to that side of things. Ezra has a different...
My musical influences were diverse and a lot influenced by AM radio in the 60s. Although I did grow up with quite a bit of folk music in my family. Josh White, the Kingston Trio, Amalia Rodriguez, who sang fado music from Portugal, were standard listening fare in my house. And it grew from there. And when we discovered the Beatles, it was a journey that was just amazing as a listener to hear the breadth of their songwriting and their playing. I mean, it could be hard blues, it could be British dance hall pop music, it could be anything, and it was all considered music. And if you just think about what you've just heard from us, it is not monochromatic by any stretch. It covers a lot of different musical bases and styles. Yeah. And I think that was the template, though. I wouldn't compare us to the Beatles in any other way except that we really love all forms of music and try to play them and do them honor by playing them well.
At your age and in your field, at least, not in Keys area where the classical thing was, that's why Mozart came probably around. That's what it was. But you must, for example, have a lot of influence also by the Byrds and stuff.
Absolutely,
like that. Ram Parsons and all these guys.
Yeah, quite a few, and Texas songwriters and the songwriters that I've encountered. And what's really nice, and I think I can say is just for both of us, we're still inspired and amazed by the songwriters that we hear now. We're hearing a crop of younger songwriters come up that are just stellar, and we don't ignore the old ones either. They're also amazing, but we're still amazed by and love music.
That's also a good thing that the young guys come up and have some talent, because the older guys tend to pass away one after the other. Unfortunately, I mean, we had a few in the past, and more to come. We're not getting any younger, definitely.
That was one of the other questions. I thought, there was the question. Emily Cates actually wrote a song called "Middle-Aged Rock and Rollers," and one of the lines is, "Are you sure you dudes aren't getting too old to do this stuff anymore?"
Well, there's some old people still doing it.
That's
you know?
right.
Look at the Stones and all these guys.
I know the Stones, they're way
Still
ahead of
out
us.
there,
We've
you
got
know?
a template there. We'll just keep going.
B.B. King, man, he played till he died.
Yeah. There's a lot of them going like that.
Yeah.
All right, I think time for the final song. What's that? A lullaby is missing, so everybody goes
Wow,
to
we get
sleep
another
after
one?
that.
Yeah, we can put him to sleep.
Gosh, we got one more. I thought we were finished.
And then we can quietly leave and bring the new guys in, you know, and then they don't even wake up.
All right. We wrote this song to put our children to sleep. And the way the song happened was I was playing a guitar. It was a nylon string classical guitar, and just played it. Just one evening, I was over at some people's house, and when I was playing it, these chords just sort of jumped into my hands. Nothing I'd ever played before, and it just sort of happened. And when I got done having that happen, I took it over to Keith, and I played him the music, and I said, man, I think it's a lullaby. I don't know for sure. I think it's a lullaby. He went back into his room and
Closet. It was in the closet.
came out with about 90% of the lyrics of this song, and then we kind of worked on it some more, and it was done in less than a day. It's one of my favorite songs we ever wrote.
I still wonder when you're in the closet, how the hell did you get on the iron board to sleep?
Close your eyes and I'll sing you a song. A lullaby. Sleep till morning comes. The crickets serenade. Echo softly through the night. The stars are on the lake, and the moon is shining bright. But don't worry, I'll leave the light on in the hall. Just go to sleep now, close your eyes. Close your eyes. Listen to my song. A lullaby. Sleep until the dawn. The birds are in their nest, and the cows are in the barn. The covers on your bed will keep you safe and warm. Don't worry, I'll be beside you should you call. Just go to sleep now, close your eyes. Dragons in the sky, flying with their golden treasure. And if you catch their eye, a wish is granted more than you can measure. I'll be beside you should you fall. Just go to sleep now, close your eyes. The crickets serenade, echo softly through the night. The stars are on the lake, and the moon is shining bright. Don't worry, I'll leave the light on in the hall. Just go to sleep now, close your eyes. Just go to sleep now, close your eyes.
One minute longer and it would have worked, I guess.
I saw some yawns. I saw them.
All right, Trout Fishing in America, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, guys.